Okay, now video 2. This is an old tube TV set. I'm just feeding video from the camcorder to the TV. But right now I'm in player mode. Let me take it to camera mode and show you. It's going to go into camera mode here. It's going to start filming this grid down here. There you go. We're going to put it in player mode. You see the TV is messed up because I've been putting a super powerful magnet next to it, which you should never ever do, but it's an old tube TV set. So that's why these colors are messed up. So right now we're just looking at the player mode. If I were to be playing a tape on this old friggin' camcorder. The colors are messed up because the magnetic field, the TV needs to be degaussed. So let's now take our 2" by 2". You can see how it affects the screen even from this distance. 2" by 2" by 1" neodymium iron boron, North Pole here, South Pole here. Right now we don't need to concern ourselves. So now if I get it really close, which of course we will, we're going to see the plane of inertia, we're going to see the hyperboloid, and we're only looking at a two-dimensional cross-section, okay? It's not three-dimensional like a ferrocell, but let's do that here, yeah? Here you can actually see right in the middle there the plane of inertia, i.e. the cross-section of a donut, upper portion and lower portion, the hyperboloid or the hourglass shape, and out here, this direction and this direction, of course, is a cross-section of the donut, right? Now, if I put it this way, this is where the guy that wrote that horrific book on magnetism was confused. He said, well, a magnet has 4 poles. See, if you actually put it this way, where the scan, of course, it's how this TV is actually scanned from the RGB guns that are in the back of it. This would make it appear to be, well, a magnet has 4 poles. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. No. You're just mistaking the cross-sectional tripartite geometry of the hyperboloid, the torus, and the plane of inertia, just because of how the TV is scanning. Let's put it this way. This is in the direction of the scan of the TV. Here you can see the plane of inertia. Focus, plane of inertia, the hyperboloid, top and bottom, and the cross-section of the donut. Now, let's put the camera in record mode. Okay, there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to record those grids. Yes, we don't need to be zoomed in so much. Here you can see I have down here a clockwise paper grid that is being recorded to the camcorder, being fed to the TV. Counterclockwise grid. Obviously, I said no trickery involved. Here's my hand. Counterclockwise grid here, clockwise grid here. Now, if I use the appropriate side that is also clockwise, remember, boys and girls, there is a vortex on either side of a magnet. This would never, ever, ever occur if that were not the case, what I'm about to show you. Here we actually have a clockwise grid and a counterclockwise grid. Now, if I use the appropriate clockwise grid on the clockwise vortex, it will spin it in the same direction it is already showing on the printout. In other words, this will appear to turn in the direction that it's supposed to turn. Now, if it's inverse to this, and it's a counterclockwise vortex on the magnetic pole that I get to this one, it will look distorted. So let's take a look at that, all right? What side right now doesn't matter. Let's use the North Pole side, but it still doesn't matter. So if I get it, the North Pole side right here, to this clockwise grid, let's see what happens. It turns in the same direction, you see? Same direction. Now if I inverse this, you'll actually see some crazy distortion. Yeah, I'm actually taking a clockwise vortex printout and I'm putting a counterclockwise vortex to it. See distortion there, but it should work perfectly on this counterclockwise vortex and turn the counterclockwise vortex on the South Pole side in the same direction that it's already turning, which is counterclockwise. Is that happening? Yes, that's exactly what's happening. Turning it counterclockwise. Yes, it turns it in the appropriate direction here, turns it distortion here. Correct? But if I flip it over to the North Pole side, correct. Yes, boys and girls, every magnet has a vortex, and on the other side is an inverse vortex. That's only relative to each other. They are turning the exact same direction, but since they are mirrored to one another, they are turning inverse relative to each other. Both turning the same vortex, but inverse relative to one another. Okay? And here you can actually see. And remember what I showed you in the first video. If I get this close over here, you should never do this to this TV. You see the counterclockwise scintillating hairs turn over here, it'd be clockwise. I gotta get behind the magnet. You see it? Clockwise. You see the clockwise scintillating hairs? Right? Not hairs, but it's an easy way to describe it. And inverse over here. Yes, boys and girls. For that PhD professor of physics that said I was lying about a vortex being on a magnet and another vortex inverse to the other side on the other side of a magnet, doesn't matter what size the magnet is, doesn't matter how powerful it is, it's all the same. Magnetism is magnetism is magnetism. For that PhD professor of physics, and there have been many like him over the years, I just tap danced on your skull. O-W-N-E-D. Owned. Ain't no trickery involved here. All I used was an old freaking TV set, a printout, an old RCA cable feed to this old Sony camcorder. Yeah, I'm gonna put my hand in front of here. No trickery, girlfriend. No trickery at all. No trickery. You, sir, are owned. And thus spoke the god of magnetism, the first person on earth to truly understand what magnetism is and how it works. Peace out. If you like these videos, you can always click the link below. Any donation is welcome. Or you can tell me to jump off a cliff. Whatever makes you happy. But as far as the PhD professor of physics that says there's no vortex on a magnetic pole and an inverse vortex on the other, you, sir, are owned. Owned. Mic drop.